The bottle shattered against the wall at 2:47 a.m., whiskey spraying across faded wallpaper like blood spatter. Dave didn't remember throwing it. Didn't remember most nights anymore. 6 months. The knock came 3 seconds later. Sharp, authoritative, wrong for this hour. Dave stood motionless in his studio apartment, all 400 square feet of rock bottom, wearing clothes he'd had on for days. The beard that had started as grief was now just surrender. 3 more knocks. Harder. Through the peephole, Abel. And behind him, partially hidden, Margaret Hayes, Dave's mother, her face carved from worry and determination. Dave's hand froze on the deadbolt. "That you are here, family. Welcome to Lifetales by Sally. It's clear you love a deep dive. I put dozens of hours into researching these stories. If you're listening right now, help me prove something wrong. My mother said I wouldn't even reach 100 subscribers, but I believe stories like this deserve to be heard. Help me show her that these tales matter. Please subscribe to Lifetales by Sally, and let's keep breathing life into stories that were never meant to stay silent. Sit back and relax as we dive into the story. I can hear you breathing, David." His mother's voice cut through the door like a blade through silk. "Open it, or I'm calling the landlord to do it for me." He opened the door halfway. "It's 3 a.m. Margaret pushed past him without asking, her eyes scanning the wreckage. Broken glass, empty bottles, the mattress on the floor where a bed should be. Abel followed, closing the door with quiet finality. "Lord have mercy." Margaret's whisper wasn't prayer. It was assessment. "Mom, I'm fine." "Don't." The single word stopped him. Margaret turned, and Dave saw something in her face he'd never seen before. Not anger. Not pity. Calculation. "Your storage unit payment bounced. They auction everything in 72 hours. How do you?" "Abel called me. I flew in tonight." She moved to his kitchenette, opened the mini-fridge. "Ketchup. Expired milk. For beers." She closed it slowly. "When did you last eat food?" Dave's phone buzzed on the mattress. A notification lit the cracked screen. Kiyanna Hayes updated her profile picture. Margaret saw his eyes track to it, saw the hunger and self-destruction in that glance. She picked up the phone before he could stop her, looked at the screen, and her jaw tightened. "She's at Professor J's mansion. Golden hour lighting. Professional photographer." Margaret's voice was ice. 4 children. Big house. Her caption says blessed. "Mom, how many times have you looked at this today?" Silence. "How many, David?" "I don't know. 20. 30. Margaret deleted the app. Just opened Facebook and held down the icon until it trembled, then removed it. Dave's protest died when he saw her expression. "You've been bleeding out for 6 months, she said quietly. "Watching them live your life while you die in this room. That stops tonight." Abel stepped forward. "The storage unit. We're going. Now." "I don't want to. Your brother Marcus called me yesterday." Margaret's interruption carried weight Dave didn't understand. "Your older brother. The one you haven't spoken to in 8 months. He wanted to know if you were still alive, or if he should start making funeral arrangements." Dave's oldest brother. The successful one, corporate lawyer in Chicago, the Hayes family success story. They'd drifted after the divorce, after Marcus had said things like, "You need to move on," and "dwelling helps nothing." "What did you tell him?" "That I'd find out." Margaret sat on the edge of his floor mattress. "Your father died when you were 12. I raised 3 boys alone, 3 black boys in Atlanta in the 90s. You think I don't know what dying looks like? You think I can't see it happening to my son? This is different." "You're right. It's worse." Her voice dropped. "Your father died of a heart attack. Quick. Merciful. You're choosing slow suicide because a woman and her lover destroyed something you built. Well, I didn't raise you to surrender." The words hit like physical blows. Abel pulled out his phone. "Storage bills paid. I transferred the money an hour ago. Now get dressed. You're facing whatever's in those boxes tonight, or I'm calling your brothers, and we're staging an intervention tomorrow. Your choice." Dave looked between them. His mother's iron will, Abel's exhausted loyalty. 2 people who refused to let him disappear. "Fine." The word came out hollow. "Give me 5 minutes." The 24-hour storage facility squatted on the industrial edge of town, all harsh fluorescent lights and orange doors stretching like grave markers. Dave's unit was E47 back corner, chosen specifically to be far from everything. His hands shook on the combination lock. 3 tries. "Want me to?" Abel started. "No." Dave needed to do this alone. The lock clicked. He rolled the door up. Motion sensors flickered on, revealing his life's archaeology. Boxes labeled in Margaret's handwriting, a disassembled crib, toys marked twins, the coffee maker from their first anniversary. Every item a monument to lies. "I'll wait out here," Margaret said softly. "Take your time, baby." But Dave caught something in her voice. A hesitation. He turned. "Mom, what aren't you telling me?" Margaret exchanged a glance with Abel. Some silent communication Dave couldn't read. "Just be thorough," she said. "Look at everything." The door rolled down behind him, leaving Dave alone with his ghosts. He started with the nearest box, photos and memories. Wedding album. Ultrasounds. Every image poisoned now. He was about to close it when he noticed something wedged underneath. An envelope. Thick. His name written in handwriting he didn't recognize. Dave opened it. Inside, a cashier's check for $15,000, dated 3 months ago, and a note in unfamiliar script. For David Hayes. From someone who knows what it's like to be betrayed by people you trusted. Use this to fight back or move forward. Your choice. The files in the black bin matter more than you know. A friend. Dave's heart hammered. Someone had been in his storage unit. Someone had left him money. Someone knew about the black bin. He found it in the back corner, exactly where the note said. Popped the lid. Office supplies. Random papers. And underneath, the external hard drive. DH, confidential work files, 2020 to 2024. But now there was something else. A second USB drive, newer, with a label. Updated, 2025. You're not the only one he hurt. MC Marcus Chin, the former FAB oil auditor who'd been forced into retirement. Dave's hands trembled as he pocketed both drives. Then he saw something else in the bin, a burner phone still in packaging with a sticky note. Use this. Your regular phone isn't safe. What the hell was happening? He grabbed the wedding album, the one with photos he'd meant to burn, and the mysterious envelope with the check. Then he rolled up the door. Margaret and Abel both straightened when they saw his face. "What did you find?" Abel asked. Dave looked at his mother. Really looked. Saw something in her eyes that made his breath catch. "Mom, did you know about this?" He held up the envelope with the check. Margaret's silence was answer enough. "How long have you known?" 3 weeks. Her voice was steady. "I got a call from a man who wouldn't give his name. Said he was a former colleague of yours. Said you had information that could help people, but you were too broken to use it. Said he'd left you resources in your storage unit, and I should make sure you found them before the unit was auctioned. And you didn't tell me? Would you have listened?" Margaret's question was gentle but sharp. "You were barely answering my calls. I needed you functional first. Needed you to want to survive before giving you weapons." Dave stared at the envelope. $15,000. New evidence. A burner phone. Someone was orchestrating something, and he was a piece on a board he didn't understand yet. "Who else knows about this?" he asked quietly. Abel shook his head. "I just knew about the storage bill. Your mom called me tonight, said it was time to move." Margaret stepped closer. "David, I don't know what's on those drives or what that money is for. But someone thinks you're worth investing in. Someone thinks you have power you haven't used yet." She touched his face. "Are they right?" Dave thought about the hard drive in his pocket. About 50 million in documented embezzlement. About Professor J living in a mansion with stolen money and a stolen family. "Yeah," he said quietly. "They might be." Back at the apartment, Dave connected the old hard drive to his laptop. Password. Aria_Harmony_2020. The folders unlocked, everything he remembered. Evidence of Jay's systematic theft. But then he connected the new USB drive. The one from Marcus Chin. A single folder. Apex_Energy_2024-2025. Dave opened it. His breath stopped. Marcus hadn't just verified Dave's old evidence. He'd expanded it. The new files showed Professor J had started the exact same embezzlement scheme at Apex Energy Group the moment he'd joined. Shell companies with different names but identical patterns. Offshore accounts. Inflated contracts. And it was bigger now. Jay had stolen nearly $30 million from Apex in just 6 months, accelerated, desperate, like a man who knew his time was limited. A text file opened automatically. Read__first.txt. Dave, I'm Marcus Chin. We met twice during your time at FAB Oil. You probably don't remember me well. I was forced out for asking questions about the same irregularities you documented. Your mother reached out to me 6 weeks ago through a mutual contact. Said her son was dying slowly and needed a reason to live. I did research. Found out about the affair, the DNA results, the divorce. Realized you were the branch manager who'd worked under Jay. I took a chance. Checked some old audit trails. Found evidence you'd pulled financial reports 3 years ago. Comprehensive analysis that would have exposed Jay if anyone had listened. I've spent the last month verifying everything you found and adding new evidence. Jay is doing it again at Apex. He can't stop himself. I've also made contact with SEC investigator, ready to move on federal charges. FAB Oil's new audit committee want to recover stolen funds. Apex Energy's board desperate to avoid scandal. 2 journalists who specialize in corporate fraud. All of them are waiting for a signal. All of them need someone to go on record as the source. That someone is you. The $15,000 is from my early retirement package. Consider it an investment. Use it to get a lawyer, get healthy, prepare to testify. When you're ready, use the burner phone. My number is programmed in. You're not alone in this. And you're not powerless. Jay destroyed more than your family. He's destroyed careers, stolen from shareholders, corrupted 2 major corporations. It's time someone stopped him. Are you ready? Marcus. Dave read the message 3 times. Someone had built him a weapon. Had done the work he was too broken to do. Had assembled federal prosecutors and corporate boards and journalists, all waiting for Dave to pull the trigger. The burner phone sat on his mattress, still in its packaging. His regular phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Mr. Hayes, this is Kiyanna's attorney. We're filing for child support. Hearing scheduled in 2 weeks. Please retain counsel. Child support. For children that weren't his. While Jay lived in a mansion bought with stolen money. Dave looked at the evidence on his laptop. At the burner phone. At the check for $15,000. Margaret appeared in his doorway, having let herself back in with the key Abel must have given her. Your brother Marcus called again, she said quietly. Wants to know if you're ready to talk. He's worried about you. Which Marcus? Chun or my brother? Your brother. The lawyer. She paused. Though I think maybe you need to talk to both Marcuses. One about fighting. One about healing. Dave's phone buzzed again. Another text, different unknown number. I see you found the files. Good. You have 1 week to decide what you're going to do with them. After that, I move forward with or without you. Choose wisely. Time to be a man again, David. MC. 1 week. Dave looked at his mother. If I do this, if I actually fight back, it's going to get ugly. Lawsuits. Media attention. They'll come after me. Let them come. Margaret's voice was steel. The Hayes family doesn't run from fights. We finish them. Dave picked up the burner phone. Removed the packaging. Powered it on. 1 contact. M. Chun. He typed a message. I'm in. Tell me what you need. The response came in seconds. First, get a lawyer who specializes in white-collar crime. Second, get healthy. You're no good to anyone half dead. Third, prepare for war. I'll be in touch in 72 hours with next steps. Welcome back to the land of the living. Dave looked at his reflection in the laptop screen, gaunt, bearded, hollowed out. A ghost of who he used to be. But underneath the wreckage, something was stirring. Something cold and calculating and absolutely done with being a victim. Mom, he said quietly. I need you to do me a favor. Anything. Call Marcus. My brother. Tell him I need a lawyer recommendation. Best white-collar criminal defense attorney he knows. Money isn't an issue anymore. Margaret's eyes went to the check on the table. She nodded slowly. And Mom, tell him I'm sorry. For disappearing. For shutting him out. Tell him. Dave's voice steadied. Tell him I'm ready to fight back. She pulled out her phone, but before dialing, she looked at him with something that might have been pride. Your father would be proud of you right now. You know that. Dad died before all this. Your father died fighting, Margaret interrupted. Heart attack at his desk, middle of a case he refused to give up on. He was a public defender, spent his whole career fighting for people who couldn't fight for themselves. Her eyes glistened. He taught you that justice matters. That standing up matters. I think he'd be proud you're finally remembering that. She left to make the call. Dave sat alone with the evidence, the money, the burner phone. Outside, dawn was breaking. The first sunrise in 6 months he'd actually been awake to see. Somewhere across town, Professor J was probably sleeping in his mansion, Kiyanna beside him, for children in bedrooms down the hall. Living the life he'd stolen, spending the money he'd embezzled, confident that he'd won completely. He had no idea what was coming, and Dave intended to keep it that way until it was too late. The lawyer Marcus Hayes recommended arrived at Dave's new apartment, the one he'd moved into using part of the mysterious $15,000, wearing a suit that cost more than Dave's monthly rent. Patricia Rodriguez, 43, former federal prosecutor turned private practice, studied Dave with the intensity of someone evaluating a witness before trial. Your brother says you have evidence of corporate fraud. Direct. No pleasantries. He also says you're a flight risk emotionally. Which is it? Dave handed her the laptop without answering. She spent 20 minutes reading in silence while Dave waited. Finally, she closed the computer and looked up. This is prosecutable. Federal charges. 20 to 30 years. Her expression revealed nothing. Who else has seen this? Marcus Chin, former FAB oil auditor. He added the Apex files. Where is Chin now? I don't know. Patricia's eyes narrowed. You don't know or you won't say? Both. She stood, walked to his window, looked out at the street below. Mr. Hayes, I charge $400 an hour. Your brother paid my retainer, $5,000, which buys you 12 hours of my time. I don't waste hours on clients who lie to me. So let's try again. Where is Marcus Chin? Dave pulled out the burner phone. Showed her the single contact. That's all I have. He contacts me. I don't contact him unless he says I can. Sounds like witness protection protocol. Patricia turned back. Which means Chin is scared. Of who? Professor J has resources. J is a middle manager at an oil company. He doesn't have the kind of resources that make federal auditors hide. She sat down again, leaning forward. Who else is involved in this? The question hung in the air. Dave realized he'd been so focused on Jay that he hadn't asked the bigger question. If Jay was stealing $50 million, who was helping him? Who was looking the other way? Who was covering tracks? I don't know. Then we need to find out before you become a target too. Patricia opened her briefcase, pulled out a legal pad. Tell me everything about how you found these files. Don't leave anything out. Dave walked her through it. The storage unit, the mysterious envelope, the check, the note from Chun, the updated USB drive. Patricia took notes, her expression growing more concerned. Someone staged this, she said finally. The money, the drives, the timing. Chun didn't just stumble onto your mother's contact information. Someone gave it to him. Who? That's what we need to figure out. She made another note. Your child support hearing is in 11 days. That gives us a window. If we can prove Jay's income is about to disappear because of federal charges, the judge won't order you to pay support for children that aren't yours. You think we can stop the charges from being filed until after the hearing? Patricia's smile was razor-thin. I think we can accelerate them to land exactly when we need them to. I have contacts at the SEC. If the evidence is as strong as it appears, they'll move fast. She paused. But Dave, once this starts, you can't stop it. Federal investigations take on lives of their own. People get hurt. Innocent people sometimes get caught in the blast radius. Kiyanna made her choice. I'm not talking about Kiyanna. Patricia's interruption was sharp. I'm talking about the 4 children who will grow up with their father in prison and their mother in poverty. I'm talking about your own emotional health when you realize revenge doesn't heal wounds. I'm talking about the possibility that whoever's orchestrating this has motives you don't understand. Dave thought about the note. From someone who knows what it's like to be betrayed by people you trusted. Who had Jay betrayed besides Dave? How many other lives had he destroyed? I'm still in, Dave said quietly. Patricia nodded. Then we do this smart. Controlled. Strategic. She pulled out a document. First, you're going to write an affidavit, everything you discovered, when, how. We make you a whistleblower, which gives you legal protection. Second, we coordinate with Chun to ensure evidence goes to the right people at the right time. Third, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and her expression changed. Excuse me. She stepped into the hallway. Dave sat alone, looking at the laptop, at the evidence that could destroy Jay. He thought about Arya asking for Daddy Dave, about Harmony's quiet tears, about Carter's confused questions about where he'd gone. For children who would pay for their parents' sins. The apartment door opened. Not Patricia returning, but Abel, carrying food bags that smelled like actual nutrition. Your mom sent me with breakfast. He set the bags on the counter. Said you need to eat before you do anything stupid. I'm not doing anything stupid. You're planning to destroy a man who has resources you don't understand. Abel's voice was flat. That qualifies. You brought me the evidence. I brought you to your storage unit because your mom said you needed closure. I didn't know about the money or the drives or whatever conspiracy Chin is running. Abel unpacked containers, eggs, toast, fruit. Dave, I love you like a brother. But this feels wrong. He destroyed my life. So you destroy his? And then what? You think you'll feel better? Abel's question hit like a punch. I was there. I saw what the DNA results did to you. I held you while you had a panic attack so bad I thought you were dying. You think I want revenge for you any less than you want it for yourself? Dave said nothing. But revenge doesn't fix broken things. It just breaks more things. Abel sat across from him. I've been doing research. About embezzlement cases. About whistleblowers. You know what happens to most of them? They get protected. They get isolated. Lose friends who think they're snitches. Get blacklisted in their industries. Spend years in legal battles. Some of them end up more destroyed than the people they exposed. Abel's eyes were hard. Is that what you want? To win the battle but lose yourself completely? Before Dave could answer, Patricia returned. Her face was pale. We have a problem. She sat down slowly. That call was from a friend at the SEC. Someone else just filed a complaint about Professor J. Anonymous tip came in this morning. Claims he's embezzling from Apex Energy. Dave's stomach dropped. Who? They don't know. But the tip included details only someone with inside access would have. Account numbers. Transaction dates. Shell company names. She looked at Dave. Either Marcus Chin went around you, or someone else is playing the same game. Could it be someone at Apex? Internal whistleblower? Possibly. But the timing is suspicious. You find evidence yesterday. Someone files a complaint today. Patricia shook her head. This feels coordinated. The burner phone buzzed. A text from Chin. Did you talk to anyone about the Apex files? Dave typed back. Just my lawyer. Someone filed an SEC complaint this morning. Wasn't me. Wasn't you. Be careful. You're not the only one with skin in this game. MC. Dave showed the exchange to Patricia. Multiple players, she said quietly. That's either very good or very bad. Good if they're all after Jay. Bad if they're after each other and you're caught in the middle. Abel stood abruptly. I need to say something, and you're not going to like it. Both of them looked at him. What if this whole thing is a setup? What if Chin isn't trying to help you? What if someone's using you to take down Jay while keeping their own hands clean? Patricia's expression suggested she'd had the same thought. Who benefits if Jay goes down? Abel pressed. Besides you. Dave thought about it. FAB Oil gets to recover stolen funds. Apex avoids bigger scandal if they move fast. Chin gets vindication for being forced out. Shareholders get. What about Kiyanna? Abel's interruption was quiet. The question stopped Dave cold. What about her? Think about it. Jay's assets get frozen, he goes to prison. What happens to her? She struggles. Faces consequences. She becomes a single mother of 4 with no support, no husband, no money. Abel's voice was gentle but relentless. And who's the only other person those kids have ever called father? The implication hit Dave like cold water. Patricia saw it too. If Jay goes to prison and Kiyanna becomes destitute, she could petition for reinstatement of your parental rights. Argue the children need stability, that you raised them for years, that they call you dad. I'd never. Wouldn't you? Abel's question was soft. If Arya showed up on your doorstep crying, saying she missed you, needed you, you'd turn her away? Dave's silence was answer enough. Someone's playing chess, Patricia said slowly. Multiple moves ahead. Question is, are you a player or a piece? Before anyone could respond, Dave's regular phone rang. Unknown number. He let it go to voicemail. The message notification appeared seconds later. He played it on speaker. A woman's voice, professional, cold. Mr. Hayes, this is Jennifer Morrison from Apex Energy Group HR. We need to discuss your former employment with FAB Oil and your documented analysis of regional finances. Please return my call at your earliest convenience. This is time-sensitive. The three of them stared at the phone. How does Apex know about your analysis? Patricia asked quietly. They shouldn't. Unless, Dave looked at the laptop. At the evidence. Unless whoever filed that SEC complaint mentioned me by name. Patricia's phone rang. She answered, listened for 30 seconds, then hung up with a face like stone. That was my SEC contact. The anonymous complaint that came in this morning? It specifically cited prior analysis conducted by former FAB Oil branch manager David Hayes as corroborating evidence. Someone's forcing my hand, Dave said. Someone's burning your cover, Patricia corrected. Whoever filed that complaint just made you a public figure in this investigation, whether you want to be or not. Abel stood. I'm calling your mom. This is bigger than any of us thought. But before he could dial, the burner phone rang. Not a text. An actual call. Dave answered. Chun, get out of your apartment. Now. Marcus Chen's voice was urgent, controlled panic underneath. Don't pack. Don't hesitate. Just go. What's happening? Someone's coming for you. I don't know who. Could be Jay's people, could be someone else. But 20 minutes ago, a black SUV parked across from your building. 2 men inside. Professional surveillance. They're not cops. Dave moved to the window. Look down. Black Escalade. Tinted windows. 2 shapes visible in front seats. Who are they? I don't know, and I don't want to find out. There's a back exit through the maintenance area. Use it. Go to, Chen paused. Go to St. Mary's Cathedral downtown. Wait in the sanctuary. Someone will contact you there. You'll be safe in a church. Chun, what is this? I miscalculated. Thought we had more time. But whoever else is playing this game just accelerated everything. His voice dropped. Dave, whatever happens next, remember. You started this to get justice, not revenge. Don't let them twist you into something you're not. The line went dead. Patricia was already packing her briefcase. We leave now. Separately. I'll meet you at the cathedral in 1 hour. What about? Dave started. Your evidence is backed up in 3 locations. Your affidavit is drafted. If something happens to you, the investigation continues. She headed for the door, then stopped. Dave? Chen's right about one thing. Don't let this destroy what's left of who you are. She left. Abel grabbed Dave's arm. Brother, this is insane. Call the police. And tell them what? That I have evidence of corporate fraud and someone might be watching me. Dave pulled away. The police can't help with this. Then what can I do? Dave looked at his oldest friend. Tell my mom I love her. Tell my brothers I'm sorry. And if something happens, nothing's going to happen. If something happens, Dave continued firmly, make sure those kids know I loved them. Even if they weren't mine. Make sure they know. He grabbed the laptop, the hard drives, the burner phone. Left everything else. The back stairs were dim, smelling of mildew and years of neglect. Dave descended 3 flights, emerged in the maintenance area, found the exit Chen had mentioned. The alley behind his building was empty. Early morning light, trash bins, a stray cat. He walked fast but not running, nothing to draw attention. 3 blocks. 5. The cathedral's spire visible in the distance. His regular phone buzzed. A text from Kiyanna. I know what you're doing. You won't destroy him. You won't destroy us. There are things you don't know. Things that would change everything. Call me. Dave stared at the message. Things he didn't know? What could possibly change the reality of 4 years of lies? He blocked the number. Kept walking. St. Mary's Cathedral rose before him. Old stone, stained glass, sanctuary from a world gone mad. He climbed the steps, pushed through heavy wooden doors. Inside, silence. Peace. Rows of pews, candles flickering, the smell of incense and old prayers. An elderly priest looked up from where he was arranging flowers near the altar. Can I help you, son? I need somewhere quiet. To think. The priest studied him with eyes that had seen too much human suffering to be shocked by one more broken man. Sanctuary is open to all who seek it, he said simply. Stay as long as you need. Dave sat in a back pew, laptop bag beside him, burner phone in his pocket. Waiting for contact from someone he didn't know, caught in a game whose rules he didn't understand. Outside, the world was shifting. Federal investigators receiving anonymous tips. Corporate HR departments calling. Black SUVs with professional surveillance. And somewhere in all of it, Professor J was waking up in his mansion, probably unaware that the walls were closing in. But Dave was starting to realize something terrifying. Maybe Jay wasn't the only one in danger. Maybe everyone involved in this, Chun, Patricia, Dave himself, was playing with fire. And fire didn't care who got burned. The priest brought Dave coffee without being asked, black, strong, in a chipped mug that had probably served 1,000 troubled souls. Dave accepted it with hands that had finally stopped shaking. Been doing this 40 years, the priest said, settling into the pew beside him. You learn to spot the difference between men running from sin and men running from sinners. I'm not. Which one are you? Dave looked at the altar, at the crucifix suspended above it. Both, maybe. The priest nodded. Usually are. He didn't ask questions, didn't offer platitudes. Just sat there in companionable silence until Dave's phone, the regular one, buzzed. A text from his brother Marcus. Mom told me everything. Patricia Rodriguez is one of the best. But Dave, be careful. White-collar cases get ugly. People disappear into witness protection. Families get torn apart. Is revenge worth that? Before Dave could respond, the burner phone vibrated. Unknown number, but not Chen's. Answer it, the priest said quietly, standing. I'll give you privacy. Dave waited until he was alone. Hello, Mr. Hayes. A woman's voice, refined, educated, familiar. We met once at a FAB Oil regional meeting. I'm Dr. Amara Okafor, former VP of Compliance. I need 5 minutes of your time. Dave's mind raced. Okafor. He vaguely remembered her. Nigerian, sharp-dressed, had asked pointed questions during a presentation Jay gave about regional growth metrics. How did you get this number? Marcus Chen gave it to me. With your permission, he said. A pause. Did he lie? What do you want? To save you from making the same mistake I did. Her voice hardened. 3 years ago, I discovered irregularities in Professor Jay's operations. Brought them to the board. They offered me a severance package worth $500,000 to retire quietly and sign an NDA. I took it. Dave's grip tightened on the phone. You knew. You knew what he was doing, Anne. And I chose survival over justice. Yes. No defensiveness, just flat admission. I've regretted it every day since. When Chin contacted me last week, said someone was finally going after Jay with evidence, I wanted to help. By doing what? By telling you what they'll offer you. What they'll threaten you with. How they'll try to silence you like they silenced me. The cathedral door opened. Dave looked up, a young woman in business attire, mid-30s, scanning the pews. She spotted him, walked over with purposeful strides. I need to call you back, Dave said. Wait, Okafor's voice urgent. The people watching your apartment? They're not Jay's. They're corporate security from FAB Oil. The board knows you have evidence. They want it contained before it becomes public. Don't trust. Dave ended the call as the woman approached. Mr. Hayes? I'm Sarah Chen, Marcus's daughter. She extended her hand. My father sent me to bring you somewhere safe. Dave studied her. Mid-30s, intelligent eyes, expensive but understated clothes. Chen has a daughter? 2. I'm the lawyer. My sister's the forensic accountant. She's the one who helped verify your evidence. Sarah sat without invitation. We need to move. Faboil Security is canvassing churches within a mile radius of your apartment. We have maybe 20 minutes. How do I know you're really Chen's daughter? She pulled out her phone, video called someone, handed it to Dave. Marcus Chen appeared on screen. Older than Dave had imagined, silver hair, kind eyes behind glasses. Dave. Sorry for the cloak and dagger. But this is bigger than we thought. My daughter will explain. Trust her. The call ended. Sarah stood. There's a car waiting at the north entrance. Black sedan. Driver's name is Thomas. He's my father's attorney. We're taking you to a safe location where you can review everything before deciding next steps. Why are you helping me? Because Jay destroyed my father's career and my family's name. Simple, direct. And because you're the only one who documented everything before it could be buried. You're the linchpin. Without you, the case collapses. Dave grabbed his laptop bag. What about my lawyer? Patricia Rodriguez. Already contacted. She'll meet us. Sarah led him toward the north exit. But Dave, you should know something. The SEC complaint that came in this morning? That was my sister. We needed to force the investigation to start before FAB Oil could bury your evidence. You used me. We armed you, Sarah corrected. There's a difference. Now let's go before corporate security decides sanctuary doesn't apply to them. The safe location was a law office in the financial district, Chen and Associates, a small firm that handled corporate compliance. Thomas, the driver, escorted them through a private entrance to a conference room where Marcus Chen waited. He looked older than his video call suggested, but his eyes were sharp, calculating. Mr. Hayes, thank you for trusting my daughter. He gestured to chairs. We have approximately 4 hours before FAB Oil's board convenes an emergency meeting. They've been alerted to the SEC investigation. They're going to make offers. What kind of offers? Money. Lots of it. They'll offer to settle quietly, pay you damages for what Jay did, make the child support case disappear, give you a fresh start. Chen slid a folder across the table. But in exchange, they'll want your silence. Your evidence. Your cooperation in burying this. Dave opened the folder. Inside, a draft settlement agreement. 7 figures. Complete NDA. Clause requiring him to turn over all evidence and never speak about Jay's crimes. They haven't offered this yet, Dave said. They will. Probably in the next 2 hours. Chen's expression was grim. Dr. Okafor wasn't the only person they silenced. In the last 5 years, at least 6 employees have discovered pieces of what Jay was doing. All of them took settlements. All of them signed NDAs. All of them disappeared. What happened to them? Nothing violent. Just relocated. New jobs in new cities. Comfortable lives built on corporate hush money. Chen leaned forward. Dave, I need you to understand something. These people aren't evil. They're pragmatic. They'll destroy evidence to protect the company's stock price. They'll ruin whistleblowers to avoid scandal. And they'll make your life hell if you refuse their offers. Sarah placed another folder on the table. But if you do take their money, Jay walks. Maybe loses his job at Apex, maybe faces minor consequences, but the $50 million he stole? Laundered offshore? He keeps it. Lives comfortably forever. Dave thought about Arya and Harmony. About Carter. About Hope. The kids, he said quietly. If Jay goes to prison, if his assets are frozen, what happens to them? The Chens exchanged glances. That's the moral complexity, Sarah admitted. 4 innocent children will suffer for their father's crimes. Probably grow up in poverty if Kiyanna can't support them. Definitely grow up with a father in federal prison. But they'll also grow up knowing the truth, Marcus added. Not living a lie. Not benefiting from stolen money. That matters. Did it? Dave wasn't sure anymore. The conference room door opened. Patricia Rodriguez entered, her expression tight. We have a problem. She set her briefcase down. I just got a call from Judge Martinez's clerk. The child support hearing has been moved up to tomorrow morning. They can't do that. Emergency motion from Kiyanna's attorney. Claims you're a flight risk, that you're being investigated by federal authorities, that delay prejudices her client. Patricia's eyes were hard. Someone told them about the SEC investigation. Someone who knew exactly how to pressure the court. FAB Oil, Sarah said. They're accelerating everything. Trying to force your hand before you're ready. Dave's burner phone buzzed. Chen's number. A text. Fab Oil CEO wants to meet. Tonight. 8 p.m. He'll come to you. He'll bring an offer. This is your one chance to negotiate. Think carefully. MC. Marcus saw Dave's face. What is it? Dave showed him the text. The older man nodded slowly. Richard Okonkwo. Fab Oil CEO. Nigerian, brilliant, ruthless. If he's coming personally, the offer will be substantial. Life-changing money. How much? Enough that you'd never have to work again. Enough to make you disappear comfortably. Marcus's voice dropped. Dave, I can't tell you what to do. But I can tell you this. I took early retirement. Took their money. Signed their NDA. And every morning I wake up knowing I let a thief walk free, because I was scared. Sarah touched her father's hand. A gesture of support, of shared pain. If you take the money, Patricia said carefully, the child support case becomes irrelevant. You'll have resources to fight it or settle it. You'll have safety. But you'll also have silence. Dave looked around the conference room. At the Chens, father and daughter united in delayed justice. At Patricia, the lawyer who'd seen too many whistleblowers destroyed. At the settlement agreement offering millions to forget. His regular phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. David. Kiyanna's voice strained. Please. We need to talk. Before tomorrow. Before everything explodes. I have nothing to say to you. You don't understand. She was crying now. There are things you don't know about Jay. About me. About why her voice broke. Please. One conversation. Tonight. Before you destroy everything. I've already destroyed everything. Not everything. A pause. The children, David. There are things about the children you need to know. His blood went cold. What things? Not over the phone. Meet me. Tonight. 6 p.m. The coffee shop where you proposed. Please. She hung up before he could refuse. Everyone in the room was watching him. What did she say? Patricia asked. She wants to meet. Says there are things I don't know about the children. Dave's mind raced. What could she possibly tell me that would change anything? Sarah's expression shifted. Dave, Did you ever get a second DNA test? From an independent lab. What? No. Why would I? Because the original test was processed through FAB Oil's contracted lab. Sarah pulled out her laptop. Which means Jay had access to the results before you did. Which means they could have been altered, Marcus finished grimly. If Jay wanted to sever your connection to the children completely, falsifying DNA results would do it. The room tilted. Dave sat heavily in a chair. You think, he couldn't finish the sentence. I think you should meet with Kiyanna, Patricia said quietly. With precautions. Recording device. Public location. Find out what she knows. And the CEO meeting at 8 p.m.? Dave asked. Go to that too. Marcus's voice was steel. Hear the offer. Understand what you're refusing. Then make your choice knowing the full picture. Dave looked at the settlement agreement. At the millions being offered for his silence. He thought about Aria's laugh. Harmony's quiet observations. Carter calling him Dada. Hope's tiny fingers. What if they were his after all? What if Jay had stolen even that truth from him? I'll meet Kiyanna at 6, he said finally. The CEO at 8. And tomorrow morning, I'll walk into that courtroom knowing exactly what I'm fighting for. And if the DNA results were faked? Sarah asked. If those children are yours? Dave's voice was cold, certain. Then I'll destroy Professor Jay so completely, he'll wish federal prison was the worst thing that happened to him. The coffee shop was the same one where Dave had proposed 4 years ago. Same corner booth. Same menu. Different everything else. Kiyanna arrived exactly at 6 p.m., looking nothing like the polished woman from her Facebook photos. Hair pulled back messily, no makeup, exhaustion carved into her face. She spotted Dave, hesitated, then approached. Thank you for coming, she said quietly. You have 5 minutes. Dave's hand was in his pocket, touching the recording device Patricia had given him. Talk. She sat across from him, hands trembling. The DNA tests. Jay arranged them. Paid for them. Chose the lab. I know. You don't know. Her voice cracked. 2 weeks after you got the results, I found something. In Jay's home office. A file labeled insurance. Dave's heart hammered. What was in it? Documents. Communications with the lab technician who processed your tests. And a second set of results. Real results. Tears streamed down her face. David, the twins are yours. Carter is yours. I don't know about Hope. I haven't seen those results. But the first 3. The world stopped. You're lying. I'm not. She pulled out her phone, showed him photos of documents. Lab results showing 99.97% probability of paternity for Dave Hayes and twins Aria and Harmony Hayes. Similar results for Carter. Why would Jay fake the results? Dave's voice was barely a whisper. Because he wanted you gone. Completely. No connections, no claims, no complications. Kiyanna's shoulders shook. He told me it was cleaner this way. That if you thought they weren't yours, you'd leave without fighting. That we could be a real family. And you went along with it. I didn't know. Her voice rose, then dropped. I found the file 2 weeks after you left. 2 weeks after I'd already chosen him, already moved into his house, already committed. By then, she stopped. By then I'd made my bed. Dave stared at the photos on her phone. At proof that 3 of the 4 children he'd raised were actually his. That Jay had stolen them through falsified documents and lies. Why are you telling me this now? Because tomorrow you'll walk into that courtroom thinking you have no rights. You'll let them dismiss the child support case. You'll walk away from your children forever. Her hand reached across the table, stopped short of touching his. But if you have these results, you can fight for them. You can. Get custody, Dave finished. Take them from Jay. Destroy his perfect family the way he destroyed mine. Kiyanna's silence was confirmation. Why would you help me do that? Because, her voice broke completely. Because Jay is not the man I thought he was. Because I made a terrible mistake. Because those children deserve their real father. And because, she pulled her hand back. Because if you take them, if you fight for them and win, maybe they'll be safe. Safe from what? She looked away. Please, just take the evidence. File for custody. Fight for your children. Tomorrow morning, before the hearing, file an emergency motion. Patricia Rodriguez will know what to do. Dave's mind reeled. 3 of the 4 children were his. The DNA results had been faked. He had legal standing to fight for custody. But something in Kiyanna's story didn't add up. If you found this 2 weeks after I left, why wait 6 months to tell me? Her face crumpled. Because I was a coward. Because I thought maybe Jay would change. She looked up, eyes red. Because I was wrong about everything. And now it might be too late. Too late for what? Before she could answer, Dave's phone buzzed. A text from Sarah Chun. Security footage from outside coffee shop shows black Escalade parked across street. Same vehicle from your apartment. You're being watched. Get out. Now. Dave stood. Send me those photos. All of them. Right now. Kiyanna fumbled with her phone, sent the images. They arrived on Dave's device, crystal clear, damning, proof that Jay had committed fraud beyond embezzlement. Falsifying DNA results. Custodial interference. Fraud upon the court. Federal crimes that carried sentences longer than embezzlement. David, please, Kiyanna started. But Dave was already walking toward the exit, mind racing. If the DNA results were faked, everything changed. He had standing to fight. But it also meant Jay was even more desperate, even more dangerous than he'd thought. And desperate men did terrible things. Outside, the black Escalade sat across the street. Tinted windows. 2 silhouettes inside. Dave walked in the opposite direction, pulled out the burner phone, called Chun. The DNA results were falsified, he said without preamble. 3 of the 4 kids are mine. Jay committed fraud. Chen's sharp intake of breath. Do you have proof? Photos of the real results. Kiyanna just gave them to me. Why would she? Chen stopped. It's a trap. Dave, think. Why would Kiyanna suddenly grow a conscience after 6 months? Dave hadn't thought of that. Had been too shocked by the revelation to question the timing. I don't know. Because someone told her to. Someone who wants you to file for custody tomorrow. Chen's voice was urgent. Dave, if you file an emergency motion claiming fraud, you become the aggressor. You open yourself up to investigation. Jay's lawyers will tear you apart, claim you're fabricating evidence, that you're unstable, that you're trying to weaponize the children. But if the results are real? That's the question. How do you verify photos Kiyanna gave you? How do you prove the documents are authentic and not something she manufactured to manipulate you? Dave's head spun. Then what do I do? You meet with Faboil's CEO in 90 minutes. You listen to his offer. And you decide if you're willing to trade justice for certainty. Chin paused. Because that's what they're offering, Dave. Certainty. Money. A fresh start. Or you can fight, risk everything, trust evidence you can't verify, and possibly lose even worse than before. The line went dead. Dave stood on the street corner, people flowing around him, the city moving on while his world fractured again. 3 children might be his. Or Kiyanna might be lying. Or someone might be manipulating both of them. The black Escalade started its engine. Dave made a decision. He flagged a taxi, gave an address that wasn't the Chin office, wasn't his apartment, wasn't anywhere anyone would expect. His mother's hotel. Because if he was going to make the most important decision of his life, he needed the one person who'd never lied to him. Margaret Hayes opened her hotel room door wearing reading glasses and holding a Bible, same worn leather edition she'd carried since Dave's father died. She took one look at her son's face and pulled him inside without questions. Sit. Not a request. Dave collapsed on the edge of her bed. The DNA results were fake. 3 of the kids might be mine. Kiyanna just told me. I have a meeting with Faboil's CEO in an hour where they'll offer me millions to disappear. And tomorrow I'm supposed to walk into court and... His voice cracked. Mom, I don't know what's real anymore. Family, I know you are feeling this story and connecting deeper. Hit that subscribe button right away. Thanks. Margaret set down her Bible, poured water from the mini fridge into a glass, handed it to him. Drink. Then show me everything. Dave pulled out his phone, showed her the photos Kiyanna had sent. Lab results with his name, 99.97% probability, dated 1 week after the results he'd received showing 0%. Margaret studied them in silence, put on her reading glasses, zoomed in on details. These look authentic, she said finally. But I'm not a lab technician. Chin thinks it's a trap. That someone's manipulating me. Marcus Chin or your brother? Both probably. Dave drank the water. It tasted like nothing. What if they're right? What if I walk into that courtroom tomorrow claiming fraud, and it blows up in my face? What if I lose even the little dignity I have left? Margaret sat beside him. What if they're wrong? What if those children are yours, and you walk away from them forever because you were too scared to fight? I'm not scared. Yes, you are. You're terrified. Her voice was gentle steel. Your father used to say the hardest cases were the ones where the right choice wasn't clear, where doing good might cause harm, where justice and mercy pulled in opposite directions. What did he do in those cases? Prayed. Then chose the option he could live with failing at. Margaret touched his hand. David, I can't tell you what to do. But I can tell you this. If those children are yours and you walk away without fighting, you'll regret it the rest of your life. But if you fight and lose, at least you'll know you tried. Dave's burner phone buzzed. Text from Chun. CEO is early. Says he'll meet you at the hotel bar downstairs. Right now. Are you there? He looked at his mother. He's here. Downstairs. Then go listen. Hear what he offers. But remember, she gripped his hand hard. Money can buy a lot of things. It can't buy back time you lose with your children. Can't buy back your integrity once you sell it. The hotel bar was elegant, quiet. The kind of place where deals got made in whispers over expensive scotch. Richard Okonkwo sat alone in a corner booth, wearing a tailored suit that probably cost more than Dave's car used to. Late 50s, Nigerian features, gray at his temples, eyes that had seen every negotiation tactic ever invented. He stood when Dave approached, extended his hand. Mr. Hayes, thank you for agreeing to meet. They shook. Okonkwo's grip was firm, confident, the handshake of a man who held all the cards. Sit, please. Okonkwo gestured. Can I order you something? Water. A slight smile. Wise. Clear head for important conversations. He signaled the bartender, ordered sparkling water for both of them. Waited until they were alone again. I'll be direct, Okonkwo said. You have evidence of financial irregularities at FAB Oil. Evidence that, if made public, would damage our company significantly. Stock price. Reputation. Legal exposure. He paused. You also have evidence that makes Professor J vulnerable to federal prosecution. This creates problems for multiple parties. Including you. Including me. No denial. Jay was my hire. My protege. His crimes reflect on my judgment. The board is already questioning my leadership. Dave waited. But here's what most people don't understand about corporate scandals. Okonkwo leaned forward slightly. They're not about guilt or innocence. They're about exposure control. If Jay goes down quietly, internal termination, quiet settlement, no media attention, FAB Oil survives. Stock recovers. We move on. And if it becomes public, federal investigation, media circus, shareholder lawsuits, class actions, regulatory scrutiny. The company bleeds for years. Thousands of innocent employees suffer. Pensions get damaged. Families hurt. Okonkwo's expression was carefully neutral. All because one man stole money he'll never be able to return anyway. So you want me to stay quiet? I want to offer you a better alternative. Okonkwo pulled a folder from his briefcase. Slid it across the table. Dave opened it. Settlement agreement. Non-disclosure. And a number that made his breath catch. $7 million. Tax-free settlement paid from a corporate insurance policy, Okonkwo explained. Not from company funds, so no shareholder impact. Structured as damages for wrongful termination of your career trajectory due to Jay's personal misconduct. Completely legal. Completely clean. Dave stared at the number. $7 million. Enough to never work again. Enough to disappear. Enough to. There's more. Okonkwo turned the page. We've learned about the child support case. About your complicated situation with the children. This settlement includes a provision. FAB Oil will fund a trust for the children's education and welfare. $5 million. Managed independently. Kiyanna can't touch it. Jay can't access it. It's purely for the children. Why would you do that? Because those children are innocent. And because it ensures you don't come back later with moral qualms about taking our money. Okonkwo's expression softened slightly. Mr. Hayes, I'm a father. I understand what Jay did to you wasn't just corporate fraud. He stole your family. This settlement can't give them back. But it can ensure they're provided for, regardless of what happens to Jay. Dave's throat tightened. $5 million for the kids. Even if they weren't his. Even if the DNA results Kiyanna showed him were fake. They'd be secure. And if I refuse? Then tomorrow morning, FAB Oil's attorneys file a motion in your child support case. We present evidence that you've been collaborating with a disgraced former auditor to manufacture false claims against the company. We argue you're mentally unstable, possibly dangerous, attempting to weaponize children in a revenge scheme. Okonkwo's voice remained calm. We'll also contact Apex Energy. Inform them you're attempting corporate espionage. Between FAB Oil and Apex, We have resources to make your life very difficult. There it was. The threat beneath the velvet. You'll destroy me if I don't take the money. We'll protect our interests. Just as you're trying to protect yours. Okonkwo checked his watch. You have until 9 a.m. tomorrow. If you sign, we file a joint motion with Kiyanna's attorney. Child support case dismissed. No obligations either direction. Clean break. Everyone moves forward. And Jay? Terminated quietly. No federal charges if we can prevent them. He'll likely leave the country. We've heard Nigeria or Ghana, where extradition is complicated. He'll live out his life comfortably but exiled. Okonkwo stood. Not ideal justice, but realistic justice. He left the folder on the table. Left Dave sitting alone with $7 million in hypothetical money and $5 million in blood money for children who might not even be his. Dave pulled out his regular phone. Texted Patricia. Need second DNA test. Tonight if possible. Private lab. No connections to FAB Oil or anyone else. How fast can you arrange it? Response came in seconds. I know someone. But Dave, Kiyanna would need to bring the children. Are you sure you want to see them? Was he? Could he look at Arya and Harmony and Carter without breaking? Could he take DNA samples and send them away again? His phone rang. Marcus Hayes, his brother. Dave, Mom called me. Told me about the CEO meeting and the DNA situation. His voice was tense. I've been doing research. If those lab results Kiyanna showed you are real, and Jay falsified the original tests, that's criminal fraud. You'd have grounds for an emergency custody hearing. But if they're fake, then you walk into court making false claims and destroy what's left of your credibility. Marcus paused. Little brother, I need to tell you something. About custody cases where paternity is contested. The legal system doesn't forgive mistakes. If you file claiming those kids are yours, you better be absolutely certain. Because if you're wrong, you'll never get another chance. So what do I do? Take the damn settlement. Marcus's voice cracked slightly. Dave, I love you. But you've been barely functional for 6 months. You're living in a cheap apartment working a warehouse job. You have PTSD, anxiety, health problems. Even if those kids are yours, a judge might not give you custody. Might decide you're not stable enough. But $7 million? That gives you time to heal, to get strong, to become someone who could fight for them later if it comes to that. You think I should take the money? I think you should survive. Everything else is secondary. Dave ended the call. Sat in the hotel bar looking at the settlement agreement. $7 million. Clean break. Walk away. He thought about Arya's laugh. Harmony's quiet questions. Carter learning to walk while Dave held his hands. His phone buzzed. Text from Sarah Chun. My sister ran analysis on those photos Kiyanna sent. They're sophisticated forgeries. Real lab letterhead, real technician signatures. But the document metadata shows they were created last week. Kiyanna lied to you. Dave's world tilted again. The DNA results were fake. The children weren't his. Kiyanna had manipulated him with forgeries, probably on Jay's instructions. Everything was lies stacked on lies. Another text from Sarah. But here's the thing. Why go through such elaborate forgeries unless there's something they're desperate to hide? We think the original DNA tests might have been faked too, but in the opposite direction. They're playing you from both sides. Dave's head throbbed. Nothing was certain. Nothing was real. His burner phone rang. Unknown number. Don't take the settlement. Dr. Amara Okafor's voice. Whatever Okonkwo offered you, don't take it. I did. And it destroyed me. The DNA results are fake. Of course they are. They're manipulating you. But Dave, here's what you need to understand. The settlement isn't about protecting the company. It's about protecting something bigger. Her voice dropped. 3 years ago, I found evidence Jay wasn't working alone. He had partners. People higher up the chain. People who. The line went dead. Dave tried calling back. Number disconnected. He sat frozen, mind racing. Partners. People higher up. What if Jay was just one piece of something larger? What if the whole thing, the affair, the children, the embezzlement, was orchestrated? The hotel bar door opened. Kiyanna entered, searching for someone. She spotted Dave and approached quickly. Did you talk to Okonkwo? She asked breathlessly. You sent me fake lab results. Her face went pale. Who told you? Doesn't matter. Why, Kiyanna? Why the elaborate lie? She sat down, hands shaking. Because Jay told me to. Said if I gave you fake results showing the kids were yours, you'd refuse the settlement. You'd file for custody. And then they'd destroy you in court, prove you were mentally unstable, eliminate you as a threat permanently. And you went along with it. He said if I didn't, he'd take the children and leave. Move to another country where I'd never see them again. Tears streamed down her face. David, I know you hate me. I deserve it. But please, don't walk into that courtroom tomorrow. Don't give them the ammunition to destroy you. The settlement. Take it. Disappear. Live your life. Her voice broke. Because if you fight them tomorrow, they'll win. And you'll lose everything. Dave stared at her. At the woman he'd loved, who'd betrayed him, who was still somehow trying to save him even now. Get out, he said quietly. David, get out. She left. Dave sat alone in the hotel bar with a settlement worth millions, evidence that might be fake, and a courtroom appearance in 12 hours that could either save him or finish what the DNA results had started. His phone buzzed one final time. Text from Margaret. Whatever you choose, I'm proud of you. But remember what your father used to say. The easy path and the right path are rarely the same. Mom. Dave looked at the settlement agreement. At $7 million that could buy safety but not truth. He thought about Aria's face. About whether he'd ever really know if she was his. Then he made his choice. He picked up the settlement agreement, signed his name on every page, and sent a photo to Okonkwo. Deal. File the joint motion at 9 a.m. I'll be there. Response came immediately. Wise choice, Mr. Hayes. Transfer will be complete within 24 hours. Welcome to your new life. Dave powered off both phones. Walked upstairs to his mother's room. Knocked. Margaret opened the door, saw his face, and knew. You took the money. I took the money. She pulled him inside. Held him while he finally truly broke. And somewhere across the city, in a mansion built on lies and stolen funds, Professor J received a text that made him smile for the first time in weeks. But what neither Jay nor Dave nor Okonkwo knew was that in a small office downtown, Marcus Chen had just received a phone call from an SEC investigator. And the federal indictment was moving forward regardless. Because some trains, once started, can't be stopped. Even by $7 million.